everybody. I'm here today with Stephen Marcellino from Lippolis Electric. Welcome, Stephen.
Thank you,
How you
Sisto.
doing?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing great today.
Oh, it's awesome to have you.
That's it.
So, Stephen, you work for Lippolis Electric,
Yes, sir.
large electrical firm, up in the Westchester, Bronx area,
Yes.
mostly up in Putnam.
We're all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, we cover all of Westchester County. Our headquarters is in Pelham, New York. Then we have a shop in Pauling, Poughkeepsie, and Millbrook, New York as well. And we're stationed throughout New York City, Long Island, New Jersey, Southern Connecticut, and anywhere you need us.
Right, and I understand that Lippolis has many divisions. So tell us a little bit about the divisions they have, but more importantly, which division you're in, and what you do day to day, and pretty much you're going to talk to us today about electrical, preventive maintenance, which I think is a huge topic. And I was intrigued by it, and that's why you're on the show, because I think you're going to bring a really different perspective about, having a large building and being able to protect your asset. So
Correct.
tell us a little bit about the different divisions that Lippolis has and the one that you're in.
Yeah, again, Sisto, thank you for having me. This is a great relationship you and I have built over time,
Yeah,
with
awesome.
Tony and, going out to eating like a 50-course meal at Patrizia's and getting full and happy together and sharing some good stories.
Absolutely.
So I'm happy, I'm
always
happy
good
to be
food.
here with you.
Good food is always
Good food is all that matters. Good food and family, right?
That's it.
And really Lippolis is divided into 5 divisions. We have our residential, our emergency service, our energy efficiency division, where they cover solar, EV car chargers, lighting retrofits, commercial construction, where they handle ground-up developments, service upgrades, office fit-outs, panel changes, those sort of
Whatever
things.
they need.
Whatever they need. And then my division, which is the Electrical Preventative Maintenance TEG division, which is, TEG is just an international franchise of electrical contractors that are all trained on a common scale. So whether you're in New York, California, Taiwan,
It's
the
all
United
the same-
Kingdom, it's all standardized.
Got
So
it.
you get the same
Yeah,
level
we
of
spoke
service.
about that. That was very interesting.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about what that means. I own a building.
Yeah.
I have a 60-story residential tower in Manhattan, and it's been around for 10 or 12 years. And, you're going to come to me and you're going to try to explain to me why I should be having some protective maintenance.
Yeah, so I mean the most, relevant benefit of doing the preventative maintenance is to maintain preventative, predictive, and proactive instead of having a reactive approach and waiting for things to break or blow up or become a problem and then trying to scramble and paying crazy fees to fix it. So our approach, we come in and, it's risk mitigation, preventing, fires, arc explosions, and business interruption. So I would come in first. I would take a full inventory of the entire electrical infrastructure.
Wow.
The different types of switch gears, panels, disconnects, transformers, all the different types of breakers and configurations. And I would design a preventative maintenance scope for your building.
Oh, so you basically design what their team should be doing.
Correct.
On a daily basis, a monthly basis, an annual basis, maybe a 5-year
Yeah,
plan.
so everything, the guide we follow primarily is the NFPA 70B electrical maintenance code and NFPA 70E electrical safety code, and then all
Which is the National Fire Prevention Code.
of course, and then all the NETA standard, which is the National Electric Testing Association, and all the IEEE manufacturer recommendations.
So as you're putting this together,
Yeah.
give us a sense of the common thread, the common problem that you see in most buildings where the maintenance isn't done that causes them the biggest issues.
Yeah, so a lot of the time, if there is lack of maintenance, a lot of, debris builds up, contact points loosen, wires loosen from their
Right.
termination points.
Dust,
And, dust, dirt, debris, and just general maintenance issues of the mechanical world, so to speak, the electrical mechanical world. And our job is to mitigate any of those issues from arising. And when we come in, we use, initially we'll come in with infrared technology, and we will be able to detect loose connections,
wires that could
know,
be frayed a little
yeah,
bit.
wires that are frayed, overheating,
Yeah,
switchgear busing.
I'm sure overheating is a big
Yeah, that's a big one. We'll do a full visual and mechanical code compliance inspection to make sure that everything is compliant with current codes, and making sure that everything is properly aligned, everything is bolted properly. There's no doubled up wire terminations. Everything is properly installed.
correct
You
grounded.
know, and we go through and do a full inspection of the system from like I said, visual, mechanical. We do an ultrasonic inspection.
Wow.
So we come in with ultrasonic technology and listen for arcing, tracking, and mechanical looseness inside of the equipment, and then we perform the infrared inspection.
Wow.
So with all that technology, that would give us a good baseline to be able to trend and analyze the data for you, because we're not going to put all this together and say, here you go, good luck.
Right.
We're
Obviously,
gonna
you're gonna act as the consultant
Exactly.
after you get the data. Your job is to go through it and make the suggestions to the owner.
100%. So where we're seeing, I'm going to talk current date where this is benefiting a lot of people, aside from the risk mitigation side, with the supply chain the way it is.
Yeah.
If people lose a section of switchgear, or a common amperage for a disconnect switch or a transformer.
Used to be a couple of weeks. Now it's a couple of months.
Couple of weeks. A lot of people would have this stuff on their shelves. Hey, bop over at
Right.
Benfield or whoever. Hey,
I need
I
this.
need a disconnect off
Right.
the shelf. Sorry,
No
Steve,
such thing.
It's 20 weeks.
Yeah. There's no
some
such thing
switchgear
anymore.
60 weeks.
Right.
Who
It's
can wait
crazy.
60 weeks to go back online? And then if you have to create a temporary service, you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars
A
a
friend
month.
of mine has got a small electrical shop, and he was telling me he's got work, but he can't start it because he can't get material.
Yeah,
Even
it's-
now, it really hasn't changed much, since the end of COVID, especially for some reason in the electrical world. I don't know why it seems to be more prominent there than, but you hear about it in the HVAC world, you hear about it in the plumbing world, but for some reason the electrical switchgear and all of that, disconnects and things like
Yeah.
that seem to have
The-
these long lead items.
The switch gears, the transformers, and the generators are what are really taking the biggest hit currently in the
Really?
industry because of the supply chain. There's no rhyme or reason. None of the manufacturers, the big guys like Schneider, Eaton, Square D, nobody can give us a reason why.
Right.
They're just saying we don't have it.
That's it.
That's it.
So you go through your supply house. The supply house tells you it's 12 weeks. You try to call them and find out why, and they're telling you the same thing they're telling them. There's nobody jumping the list. There's nobody jumping the line.
No.
So it's an incredibly intriguing thing to me because everybody's worried about their mechanical systems. Everybody's worried about their ductwork, but nobody really worries about electrical. But yet electrical's the one that can cause the most damage. It
Yeah.
can kill people, causes fires.
And at the end of the day, if the electrical infrastructure doesn't work, none of your other stuff works.
Exactly. Everything else is broken.
Everything else
Exactly.
is broken. So, it's, and for us, it's a little bit bigger than just doing the preventative maintenance. We like it to be a personal experience for our client,
Of course.
where if they have a problem, they could call at any time of the day. If they need a recommendation on where they should eat Saturday night with their family, they can call me.
Right.
I'm always reachable. And that's my biggest thing is providing that, extra level of the relationship and not just being like a scope robot,
Right.
like check this box,
Well,
check
people
that
have to,
box,
we're in any business, especially we're in the expediting and code consulting world. When they have a question, we need to be there for them.
That's it.
It doesn't matter what business you're in. Providing good customer service and being able to, be available for people to reach out to you
Yeah.
and say, Stephen, you were at my building. You did this excellent maintenance program.
Yeah.
Awesome. But by the way, I got this issue. Maybe you could steer me in the right direction. It may not have nothing to do with what you did,
Whatever
but
you
just
need.
being available to them. So I think that in any business, it's always important to have that relationship with the
Yeah,
client.
very important. And aside from all the technical stuff we do in the field, another great feature of our program is we have a whole software, a database that our clients can go and refer to see their reporting, and we also back up every specification for each piece of equipment into a software called Tag Pro Customer View. So at any point in time, they could view any asset from their electrical infrastructure in this software
And go
you
right to the
go right to the specs, find out how many spares they have in their building,
wow,
find out how many,
like an inventory.
an inventory and spec sheet
That's
for
awesome.
every single piece of equiment, one-line
So
diagrams
I
in
gotta
there,
ask the $1 million
variables.
question. How the heck did you get into this?
Yeah, listen, it's been an adventurous road for me, in the electrical construction industry, so to speak. Like you mentioned earlier, I work with Lippolis Electric. Carmine Lippolis, Charlie Smalls, and Rob Doria. They're the owners of Lippolis Electric.
Yep.
My father's involved with the business as well, chief estimator, project executive, and throughout the years, it's kind of just been like since I was a little kid, I would go to the
Only
office.
talking electric.
Yeah, I would go to the office with my father on a Saturday during the summer while everyone else is riding their bikes around the neighborhood or doing whatever kids did. And I'd be throwing lock nuts, with my friends at each other in the office, messing around with the conduit and just I was always around the shop. I was always intrigued by the industry.
So you were part of the fabric of the electrical world as a young kid.
Yeah, it was kind of just like ingrained in my lifestyle. Like, listen, you could go to school, you could go to, do whatever you want, but you're always going to get drawn back to this industry, so to speak, and I love it. I was a shop boy starting at the age of 14, during the summers, winters. I used to go to the shop and just learn the material.
Right. Putting things away, taking things out. We all did it.
Clean the vans,
That's
whatever they needed.
I did it in a plumbing shop.
Go to the deli, get buttered rolls in the morning with coffee.
Go get everybody coffee.
That's it.
But that's how you got to meet the personalities, and that's how you learned about
I learned how to navigate the industry.
Correct.
From there, I went out. I was an apprentice in the field. I worked with, now a good friend. His name is Ryan Knapp. He's been excelling, at a great rate with Lippolis Electric as well. He's a project executive now. At the time when I was in the field, he was my foreman.
Oh, wow.
So there's a lot of upward promotion at Lippolis Electric, and we're always looking to work from within and build a team.
Of course.
Because that's what's really important to us is working as a team, and, really, at the end of the day, we're like family. So it's just been kind of like I was bred to do this.
Yeah.
Once I came out of the field from working in a ground-up development, I was on the west side of Manhattan. I was brought in. I did some junior estimation work, assistant project management work in our commercial construction department.
Okay. So you got different experience.
Yeah, I bounced around a little bit. I went to school for marketing for a bit. School wasn't really my thing. I was kind of just like, I know I want to do, this stuff with electric. I learned what I needed to learn in school, and I just went and applied, my knowledge where I knew it.
Not everybody has to go to college to succeed.
Exactly.
It's all good.
So while I was a junior estimator, assistant project manager, I pitched, the rebranding of our marketing department at the same time and worked with Carmine and his daughter Michelle on that. And, I was always very vocal with, the general contractors and vendors, picking up the phone. A big term that's thrown around in our office, that my father coined is FUFT. A lot of people see that, written on a folder, FUFT. What, you telling me to go F myself? No, follow up, follow through.
Right.
And that's a major term that, I live by to this day.
That's awesome.
So seeing the PowerPoint from the marketing pitch and the follow-ups and just being at work from 7 to 6 o'clock every day, Carmine gave me the opportunity to transition into this role to kind of be
it seems
to
like
lead
an
this team.
evolving market to me.
Yeah.
I could see, I know just on a small level at our office, our office is, 50 people, 40 people, fluctuates. And the minute that we have no internet or we don't have power or there's, or like in the summer, we get a little brownout and the whole staff goes crazy.
It's like the world's ending.
Right. and I can only imagine when you're in a building of 1 million square feet with all these tenants in it, and it falls upon the owner of the building and their team to make sure that their system is in a great place.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure that there are a lot of landlords who would never even think of your system because they say, it's got no value to it. It probably cost a fortune. Why do I need this? But yet I can see Class A buildings going, wow, there is so much value to this. I don't have to worry. All all my wires are grounded. I don't have a problem with someone touching something. Again, you built the building, but you don't know who's been in that building since. And I'm sure there's nightmare stories about it. And they're probably licensed. They're not unlicensed. I'm sure they are licensed. They just do things a different way.
Yeah.
And they think that's the code. And next thing you know, your firm goes in there, does this scanning, does this stuff, and says, look at these wires. They're overheating because they put these circuits together incorrectly.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy what we see, whether it's a brand new building within the first year after construction or a 60-year-old building. Every building, whether it's a commercial tower, a data center, a hospital, industrial manufacturing, these are all markets that we touch.
Sure.
Everyone has problems. Most recently we did a test on a building that was within its first year. And we found probably like 40 issues.
Sure.
And a lot of people are like, oh, why would I do this my first year? Well, you purchase the service from us, whatever it costs based on the building size. Right. Within that first year, if we find problems, it falls
out
on
of the game. Then it's still under warranty.
It's still under warranty.
Right.
So
if Lippolis was the electrical contract, they'd have to go back and fix it.
Yeah, we'd have to fix it, or whoever it is.
Whoever it is.
They got to go back and fix it for free under the warranty. So,
correct.
You pay a few $1,000s to do this check, and now you have a baseline of the building.
Right.
But also, if you have maintenance issues, you're not worrying about them 3 years down the line.
The problem is that if you don't catch them in the first year, you're going to be throwing money after that same problem potentially for several years. So
100%.
if you nip it, if you nip it early, you're not throwing good money after bad money. You know?
And aside from the energized portion of the testing, which is, we come in, all the stuff we just discussed, there's absolutely no interruption to the building, no interruption to the tenants. There's another side to it, which is the de-energized maintenance, which I'm not going to get too into because, I don't want to sit here and be like a technical robot. But, it's pretty much we can shut a full building down, full utility coordination with whoever the utility company is, and create the proper method of procedure and go in and perform all these tests on a more granular level.
Wow.
On the switch gears, on the transformers.
Because there's no power coming through.
Because there's no power. We could test the wire insulation. We could test the contact points, the wire terminations.
It seems like the contact points are the ones that always
the
problem. I mean, and that's true. That's true of in anywhere. When it's exposed, where the contact is, where the relay is. It's just that's where the problem.
Where the biggest issues are. There's a lot of we don't feel it. Because we're bigger and we're grounded to the earth, but there's a lot of vibrations that this equipment is subject to. That, and it just becomes an issue over time. And fortunately we have the technology and the staff to work on this and make sure it's not a problem.
So how many people are in your department?
Yeah, so we were saying my department has, about 20 people between office staff, engineers, and technicians.
Wow.
So
and sweet spot. Me, I'm thinking my son works at Stanford Hospital.
Gotcha.
He's in the maintenance department, and he's in the construction side. He maintains all their doors, their locks. Jamie didn't go to college, fell in love with construction, got this job at Stanford Hospital.
Awesome.
And he loves it. He goes to school. He's doing locksmithing. And I can see that, they got almost 2 million square feet, new and old.
Yeah.
Right? And, you think about a hospital, and we were talking about that with Mike Minotti, of being in charge of safety in a hospital while they're doing construction. So electric-wise, you lose sections of a hospital where there's sick people and they don't have a preventive maintenance program. They don't have the backup breakers they need and contacts and switch gear.
Yeah.
They could go down for a while. So, I could see how this program of yours would be, nursing homes, hospitals, is just a fantastic concept.
Yeah, we do a lot of work with the healthcare sector in general, data centers,
I was going to say
industrial manufacturing, all of these markets that rely on their electricity to be 100%,
working all the time,
at
24
all
hours a
times.
day, 7 days a week.
We're in there a lot of the time. And even these high-rise towers, just from a risk mitigation point,
Sure.
whether it's a commercial office building or, a residential tower, these people want the peace of mind the building's not going to burn down because of an electrical fire.
Of course.
So, from the mission critical standpoint of making sure it's 100% operable, like a hospital, data center, industrial manufacturing facility, all the way to the residential or commercial towers. It all depends on your market and what your goal is.
Sure.
For using the service.
Sure. But like I said, I have no idea what some kind of program like this costs, per square foot or whatever. But I can see that, also from, a big conversation in a lot of these podcasts has to do with insurance.
Yes.
Everyone is afraid of insurance right now. And I'm sure that from a contractor, you're worried about it, but from a building owner. So tell me, is there, what's the advantage of your program for an owner to say, look, we did this preventive maintenance. We have a plan. We have software. We have inventory to fix if something does go wrong. How does an owner use this to their advantage for their insurance? Because, again, electrical is scary. People die from electrical fire, especially right now with all these charging batteries and stuff. It's crazy.
I know. So from an insurance perspective, fortunately, Lippolis Electric has, a slew of different accreditations as a preventative maintenance provider. Through the TAG franchise, through, Ancinita and a few other, big
Right, so you're backed by these organizations based on the program.
And because of that, we're actually allowed to provide a certification for that infrastructure on an annual basis.
So that they can give it to the insurance.
So they can take that certification and hand it to the insurance company. And throughout the time I've been doing this, I've seen a lot of my clients save in areas like building insurance, life safety insurance, fire insurance, just from performing an annual service.
Exactly. Well, it just makes sense.
Yeah.
Right? If you own a building and you never look at it for 50 years, you guys go in and say, hey, we see these things, and then you go to your insurance company and say, look, we spent money to make sure that our building is safe.
Yep.
These are the recommendations. We did it. What insurance company wouldn't want them as a client?
That's it.
I mean, it's just a no-brainer.
And that's what I'm seeing a lot now, too, is these insurance companies are actually requiring it to be rewritten.
Well,
So
again, at some point, we again, there's not that I know of from a building department standpoint. I'm not proficient in the electrical code, but we're proficient in annual inspections. An elevator gets an annual inspection every year. A facade gets an inspection every 5 years, 3 years, 7 years, depending on the size, right? Now we got parapet inspections that may be coming out. We got all kinds of annual inspections are starting to surface.
Yeah.
Sprinkler. Gas inspections now are going to be happening. And the reason that's happening is as the buildings get older, they need to protect them, right?
Yep.
It's not to protect the building, it's to
Protect the
protect the people.
Yeah.
Right. And this show's all about protecting people. We love good laws, we love new laws, we love laws that are there to protect the people.
That's the point.
Protect the people that are living there, protect the firemen that are going in there to fight the fire, God forbid if there's a fire, based on all of these electrical bikes that we're seeing these days. So when you look at these things going forward, right, we try to not look in the rearview mirror. We try to look forward. I can see how the city, as far as I know, Stephen, and maybe you can correct me or shed some light on it, is there is nothing mandatory to do what you do.
Yeah, so actually as of 2023, NFPA 70E and 70B transitioned from being a recommendation to a requirement now.
Okay, and how often do you have to do it?
So based on 70B, the maintenance variables, which are between Annex K and Annex L of the book, infrared preventative maintenance should be performed annually.
Oh, okay. And so when they do it, where do they submit that they've completed this? Does it go through the city or through the fire department, through the electrical?
Right now, it's not something that needs to be physically submitted to the city. Since it was it's a new code that was just put into place. They're trying to delegate which code agency is going to adopt this. Right now, it's OSHA.
Right.
OSHA is responsible to make sure these records are kept up.
Right.
And they have them on site.
Right. So in 2023, depending, I'm sure there's requirements, right?
Yeah.
The size of the building, how many stories, what it is. And they're not doing it on one family houses. But My point is whatever those requirements are, they're not taking it like an elevator where it's mandated that you do the inspection, someone signs off, they did the inspection, they pass it, and they submit it to the city, and then it goes on a record. Right now, the owner is responsible to make
Yes.
sure that they do it.
Yes.
Got you.
So the
And do you-
owner or the owner's representative.
Right.
So whoever it is.
Now, do you foresee that a place like New York City is going to adopt something like this where it becomes mandatory and a licensed electrician or a program like yours would be like an elevator inspection, saying, okay, here's our records. It's done annually. You pay your fee, you file your report, and
Yeah, I think at some point they're going to set some sort of baseline for the way they want the electrical infrastructure to be maintained from a life safety standpoint, and also all this extra demand they're looking to put on the grid and adding solar panels and car chargers. And, there's just so much extra load being added to these services, throughout the country.
And it's funny that you bring that up because a common question that people in general in the construction world who probably don't have a lot of experience with electrical, but they read certain things and they hear certain things.
Yeah.
Oh, they're getting rid of gas and they're just going to give us more electric and more electric and more electric. The grid's not big enough. And
It's not.
It's a common conversation. And again, so what I don't understand is if it's not big enough, why do they keep pushing this? And I don't want to use the word agenda, but they're pushing for electrical power because it's cleaner, obviously. There's no, it's greener, right? And we get that, but how is this sustainable? If everybody's going to be plugging in a car and everybody's going to be plugging in bikes and we're going to do no more gas and every AC unit is going to be a heat pump now, how does the grid hold?
Yeah, I mean, me personally, that's a topic that I could go down a rabbit hole on.
Of course you
speaking
can.
on.
We're talking in general terms.
But general terms, I mean, it's I don't deter anyone from doing anything to be personally more sustainable, but on a large scale, I don't think America or the world houses the infrastructure to support all of these
every single building
pieces of electrical technology they're trying to implement to our society. It's just not possible. And even
it's possible if they
invest it
and
build it up
and build it up, correct.
Then it's possible, and even on like a green scale, all these batteries and solar panels. When a Tesla dies or a Prius dies, they can't do anything with the batteries. They're combustible. They have poison in them. Whatever chemicals. You got to bury them in the earth. What good does that do to the earth if you bury a battery into lithium-ion battery into the earth?
There's nothing.
And all the chemicals in the solar panels too. It's what do you do if a solar panel breaks down? You got to bury it.
Right.
So
there's no way to take them off when they go off their function. What are we doing with them? And that's always been a question.
I think there's a lot of things that power is much greater than you and I need to relook at and come up with better plans for how they're getting rid of these things.
The good news for us is that that's not our job. Our job is to make sure that and your job really is which is incredible. It's incredibly intriguing to me is to make sure that buildings are safe, people are kept safe.
Yeah.
And putting in systems to allow them to stay safe.
Yeah.
They may be safe today, but are they going to be safe tomorrow? And I think that your protective maintenance system allows people to have that comfort level that after you do it, you could let a sigh out and go, wow, we got a couple of things we got to do. Let's invest the money. Let's fix it. But we know we're going to be safe for another year, another 5 years. And to me, that there's a lot of value in that.
Yeah.
A lot of value.
And that's the big thing. We're guaranteeing if we test on an annual basis, you're not going to have any problems in that electrical infrastructure. It's a guarantee.
This has been great, Stephen. I think that it's been very entertaining for me. It's been very educational because I did not know about this program. So any developers out there, any building owners that are looking to get on a maintenance program like this, you can reach out to Steve at Lippolis Electric. You could always reach out to Carmine as well. And
Anytime.
we appreciate you coming in and
Thank you.
Carmen allowing you to come in and talk to me.
That's
This is
it.
awesome.
That's it. Thank you very much. I appreciate you for having me, Sisto.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.